Go.
How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of
Ghost of Frankenstein.
My son, would you destroy that which I, your father, dedicated his life to creating? What if it had another brain?
Whose brain?
Your brain.
Forward! What good is a brain without eyes to see?
I warned you that you might regret this action.
Well, we've warned you.
You've been warned. Welcome back to Frankenstein Minute, the podcast that dissects the Universal Frankenstein film series minute by minute. I am Thom Lang.
And I'm Thom Lang, and you join
And you're
us
not.
for minute, and you're not. And you join us for minute 6 of Universal's Ghost of Frankenstein, all new thrills from 1942.
Yep, all new for 42.
Our boys were overseas, were being shipped overseas.
Yep, they would send reels of this. You know what I'm hankering for while I'm being bombarded by the Germans is a good Frankenstein film.
There you go.
More explosions, more shit raining down on Igor. I can't tell if it's a stuntman because he goes down the ladder into the pit area and stuff is falling from above and it's a mess. And he's, holding his arms up to protect himself.
Or possibly to block so you can't see that it's
that's the
Plan
thing.
9 style.
That's the thing is it's hard to tell because the way he moves looks very much like Lugosi, but you don't get a really clear look at his face. So
I like the idea that it's part of Bela Lugosi's style to have someone cover their face.
Cover their
pretend
face.
to be him.
He
He does do it though. I know some of those. Is it Mark of the Vampire? He's constantly covering his face, and it's like, why are you actually covering most of your face? It's like a thing vampires do.
I guess.
And it became
such a cliche.
very convenient.
Yeah, it worked in Ed Wood's
Ed
favor.
Wood,
Yeah.
So we had talked a little bit about.
So I don't know if he's Dr. Tomming it here or not.
Is that the name of the chiropractor or dentist?
Dr. Tom was a chiropractor. When we did Horror Incorporated, anytime somebody was a double, I would bill them as Dr. Tom.
Dr. Tom, okay.
It's my fake shemp.
It's your fake shemp. I was just going to say fake shemp. Yeah. So I had a little bit more about the miniatures here, so I just might as well work it in.
Yep.
I had written Charlie Baker, but Cleo Baker is probably who it is. His miniature castle was built on the Phantom Stage number 28, which I typed out because I was reading it off of a website, and I'll actually credit them in a bit, before it occurred to me what that even means. So when they say Phantom Stage, I assume they mean Phantom
the
Stage.
Opera. It's where the theater set was built, and it remained there till 20-something, 15, something like that.
Frighteningly recently.
Yeah,
we all could have gone and seen
it was.
They should have done a big, if they're going to get rid of it, let people come, because you've seen pictures of it. It's like covered in plastic and shit. It was an annoyance to them.
Yeah, well, and the building itself, it was built in 1925, so it was definitely not up to code. Probably full of asbestos, starting to fall apart. So they took the set, dismantled it, and put it in storage, or so they say.
And that's what I've seen wrapped in plastic, maybe?
Well, I mean, you saw it wrapped in plastic. They built it right up to the edge of the walls of the soundstage.
Oh, okay.
So they would just cover those in plastic so they wouldn't get dusty. And when they put a new set in there to shoot, it wouldn't get dirty.
Okay.
So I've seen footage of them pulling it down to reveal it.
Okay.
Antonia Carlotta did a whole thing where she's interviewing Carla Lemley in there.
Really?
Yeah, on that stage.
When?
Years ago. I mean, it's on her YouTube channel, I think.
Oh man, I didn't see that one. Okay. Anyways, this was Phantom Stage number 28, which to me is like...
They tore it down and rebuilt it, basically, is the upshot.
Well, what I want to know is, if it's the Phantom Stage, that's one thing, isn't it? And they were able to have up to 28 individual areas within that?
No, there are 28. There are 27 other stages.
Because I've also seen the film, and underneath, you have all those... There's all kinds of stuff that goes along with it. I guess I always pictured it being one structure. But if there's 28 of them... Am I not understanding still? You're looking at me like I'm not making sense.
You did the Warner Brothers tour when you were last out.
Yes.
Each of those buildings is a stage. Those great big airplane hangars.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So Phantom Stage 28.
Is Stage 28.
Someone would have to tell me when I'm watching the movie and go, that's 28.
That's 28.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyways, there was this room apparently was big enough to put a miniature castle in.
It was a big
The room
stage.
we're in might be big enough. Depends. I don't know how big the miniature.
Yeah,
is.
it looks like it's large. I mean, the bigger the miniature, the more realistic it's going to look. And certainly with explosions, water, fire,
Right.
any of those things.
Well, we're
the
Godzilla
bigger-
fans. People have heard us talk about
Yeah,
that.
the bigger this set, the more realistic it's going to appear.
And that's the thing that's the another shame about movie history is that Godzilla, all the Godzilla movies, well, all the Showa era anyway, and presumably way past that, probably into the Millennium era, were filmed in a room that had a giant fucking lake in it. So that's why Godzilla's always splashing around in the water, is because you have a big set that looks
I think
great.
that was outside.
Yeah, I agree, because now
tank.
it's a parking lot, right?
Yeah.
Like now, here's what I think. I think now it's like that scene from It's a Wonderful Life, and it's a parking lot, and then it's a dance floor, and then the guy Alfalfa pulls a lever, and then or a lever, if you will.
Lever, and it opens up.
Have we gotten started yet? Are we recording?
Uh,
And blown up by Fred Noth.
Okay.
Because this is the point I'm trying to make is Charlie Baker. I'm sorry, I'm really not doing that on purpose. Cleo Baker was this great miniature artisan who made amazing miniatures.
Yeah.
And Fred Noth was an amazing artist who blew them
Blew
up.
them up.
And so I just love that idea that this is perfect. It looks so beautiful. There is no... I defy you to find anything wrong with these shots.
It
And so
looks
it's
great. Yeah.
And I got to say, the guy, strangely enough, the guy that I'm quoting is named Peter Cook, but everybody's got to be named something.
I guess so.
He's the much less famous Peter Cook, and his website is nzpeetsmatshot.blogspot.com. If you need to know how to spell that, then you should probably just figure it out on your own.
Yep. The far right turret of the castle blows up, crumbles the wall inside the castle that apparently is containing the sulfur pit.
And all of this works great to me.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that when you're on the outside of the miniature, it blows up, but not completely.
Yeah.
Like they managed to make I don't know if it's luck. Like if I went to do it, the whole thing would probably just fucking explode.
I wonder if it was parts of it were pre-scored so that when the charge went off, that section would go.
Yeah.
You know.
If so, fucking well done.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It really cuts together well.
Oh, it looks great.
I can't. I'm not here to praise Ghost of Frankenstein, so I'm not going to shut up about this. This is fantastic looking.
This whole sequence
it happens,
is really...
and when you watch it once, I don't even know if you really notice it. Having gone back and watched it so many times, I'm like, that is so perfect. And part of it is the editing.
Yeah.
Because of the way the one side comes apart, and then all of a sudden we're inside.
We're inside where the wall.
And it looks just like that,
Yes.
but different. Yeah.
Yep. A beefy hand is sticking out of the sulfur chunks, flexing its fingers.
Yeah, that's fucking great too.
Yeah.
And one of the things... Well, go ahead.
Well, the script describes all of this much more dramatically.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't look at that.
It's, I don't know, more effectively, just more dramatically, and more stuff happens, but I like the simplicity that we get in this sequence and the next.
Yeah.
You know, it's not overly ornate or cluttered. It's very straightforward.
Yeah, and in keeping with the style of this type of movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I assume.
Yep.
And we see this hand.
We see this.
Well, the
hand.
brick structure blowing apart to reveal the hand is perfectly done too.
Yep.
Like it's flawless.
No, it all edits, like you said, it edits together perfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see that hand, and then we cut to Lugosi, who looks over and sees something, and what he's looking at is the shadow on the wall.
Shadow of the
Now that's
hand.
dumb, but it's okay here, and I think part of the reason it works for me is that we already saw the hand. We saw the hand before Igor
did.
It's a weird thing when you're watching a movie and you know something that the characters don't.
Yeah.
And that we get that for a second here. So then when we see the shadow, it doesn't. I don't know.
If we saw the shadow first, I think it would be kind of goofy.
A little cheesier.
Yeah. Logically, it doesn't make any sense that hand would be casting that shadow from where it is.
Not even
But
remotely.
dramatically, it works really well.
Yep. I have a book called Silver Scream Volume 2 by Stephen W. Hill.
Yeah, see, I've got volume 1. I've been trying to find volume 2. And
I know.
It's
well, and
long
then,
out of print.
Well, I
apparently.
know him. He goes to
you
Doctor
asked
Who
him.
conventions, and I asked him, "Can I get a copy
He's
for
like,
my friend
yeah.
Tom? He'd love it." And he said, "I can't get one."
Yeah.
So if you have one, it's probably
Send it here to
send it in. Anyways, in that book, what was I going to say about that? Oh man, I'm really starting because I didn't put it here. I just thought of it. What were we talking about?
The hand.
Oh, they talk about the fact that lighting. There's some lighting irregularities in this film, and there will be something that's lit from one direction, then you cut to the other direction. It doesn't make any sense.
There's
and this is the only one that sticks out to me.
There's later on.
The lighting. Okay, then we'll point those out. But in this one in particular, it makes less and less sense the more you think about it, because we should be in mostly dark. There's a light source that we don't know what it is that's lighting the whole
area.
place.
Yeah,
where
the whole thing is illuminated. Yeah,
and that makes sense because it's a movie and you don't want it to be in the dark. But there's no reason why there'd be a shadow.
No, like I said, logically, zero sense, but who cares? It looks cool, and dramatically it works. Igor recognizes whose hand it is.
I guess.
Well, I mean, who else would it be?
But Frankenstein. Our old pal Frankenstein.
He rushes over to remove the sulfur chunks that cover the rest of his friend.
So I think when Igor is digging the monster out, it's really impressive to me. I really think it's amazing what they did there too.
We'll get there. I got some stuff first.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. I got notes that might be out of order then. Why don't we go with yours?
Okay. Well, it's not a very dramatic reveal of the new actor playing the monster. In the middle of the shot, it's a wide shot. Igor pulls a big chunk off him. I personally would have cut to then a close-up of him, which it does later, a little later. But this is our first glimpse of somebody other than Boris Karloff playing the monster, and I think he deserved a better introduction than that.
Okay.
It's kind of perfunctory.
Yep.
You know.
I think I'm simultaneously agreeing and disagreeing.
Okay.
I think what you're saying makes sense, but I also can see the from the standpoint of the filmmakers, and we'll touch on this later in a one scene in particular, are trying to downplay
the fact that it's not Karloff.
The fact that it's not Karloff.
Possibly.
Yeah. Also, I think I don't know. I guess I just really like it the way it is, so I think maybe I'm biased.
Okay. So, who is the monster here?
Who is the true monster? I'm gonna go with
no. Who's the actor playing
Frankenstein in this?
Are we still gonna do that?
We're not doing it anymore.
I thought Barsky told us not to.
Did he say he would? No. Well, it's our old pal from The Wolfman. Yep. 1941's The Wolfman and Man-Made Monster.
Yep.
And
Of Mice and Men.
1
million BC. The Undersea Kingdom. Anyway, I got a whole list.
Creighton Chaney.
Creighton Tull Chaney.
Creighton what?
Tull.
Tull.
Okay. Must be a family thing.
I'm hoping.
Yeah. Born February 10th, 1906 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
He's 117.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No?
I don't know.
It's good. Died July 12th, 1973 in San Clemente, California, at his ranch. He had a nice ranch out there at the age of 67. He looked a lot older. Yeah. You see some of those last things that he did, even in the mid-60s.
Yeah.
He looked a lot older. Son of the Man of 1,000 Faces, obviously.
Yeah.
Who's billed as Creighton from 1932 to 1935.
It's interesting that his first movie is 1932. His dad died in 1930. And he even is quoted, his dad was even quoted as saying, "Thank God my son decided to become a plumber."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, as soon as the old man kicked off, then he got into acting.
Yeah.
He did not want to be billed anything other than Creighton Chaney, but starting in 1935, it was Lon Chaney Jr., which he absolutely hated, but it was a big career boost.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Have you seen this thing lately, Bryce Dallas Howard? Do you know who that is?
Yeah, I know who she is.
She's an actress. She's a beautiful actress that's in famous Jurassic Park shit movies that I would never...
Yeah, I know.
I try not to watch. She just, this week, I suppose it'll be 6 weeks ago now, released some multi-part Instagram or some other social media post about how she wants to give people advice about how to get going in the business. And she's been relentlessly attacked because she's...
the daughter of
Ron Howard Jr.
Yeah,
you know
basically,
what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what we've got here. Except it's almost the opposite. He's reluctantly been dragged into that part of it.
Well, he wanted to do straight up roles. Juvenile leads. He did a few things like that. Because of his size, he would frequently be the heavy.
Well, I'll have more to say about his height later.
Yeah, he was like 6'3", 220 pounds, something like that. He was a big guy.
He beat the shit out of you.
Yep. His 196 credits from 1922 to 1971. 1922 he must have done it when he was quite young, but then his career really doesn't start till 32.
Yep.
So then he was billed as Lon Chaney Jr. 1935 to 1941. Beginning with The Wolfman, they dropped the Jr. with one exception later on.
Is it in our series?
No, he's always Lon Chaney. And
Okay.
didn't like that. Didn't like being named.
Well,
after
what was the
him.
exception?
I'll get to it.
Okay. He didn't want to be Lon Chaney Jr.
No.
But he was fine with being just Lon Chaney?
No, he didn't like that either.
He didn't like that either.
Yeah.
Okay.
He wanted to
Well,
be,
what did he like?
wild turkey, old granddad. I don't know.
Probably true.
Amongst the things that are interesting to us, the serial The Undersea Kingdom,
Yep.
some of which was on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Charlie Chan on Broadway. Mr. Moto's Gamble with Peter Lorre. Of Mice and Men was kind of the breakthrough.
Yeah.
His performance of Lenny is heartbreaking, and you also will see it spoofed in cartoons all the time.
Yeah.
Tex Avery they were either two dogs or two bears, depending on the cartoon. One was George, one was Lenny.
Right.
Certainly the Abominable Snowman from the Bugs Bunny cartoons was based on that.
Oh, what a cute little pink bunny rabbit. Just what I always wanted. My own little bunny rabbit. I will name him George, and I will hug him and pet him and squeeze him.
1 million BC, he's a caveman. He gets gored by a woolly mammoth. It's pretty.
Who else was in Of Mice and Men?
Burgess Meredith.
Burgess Meredith, yeah. I can't believe I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Then Man-Made Monster, 1941, was...
where it all starts to fall apart or come together,
kick into
depending
gear,
on how you feel about it.
Yeah, fall apart if you're Lon, come together if you're everybody else.
I don't know when to say this, so I'll say it now.
Yep.
Multiple times in the past, I've referred to the fact that our podcast is going to become a Wolfman podcast, meaning the Wolfman becomes more important than Frankenstein, starting with the next film. But what really happens from today forward is these movies are all starring Lon Chaney.
Lon Chaney, yeah.
Yeah.
Every single one moving forward.
Yeah.
After that was the Wolfman. I mean, there are things in between these that I just didn't bother to write down. But the Wolfman.
Well, is Man-Made Monster a big move for him? Is that where it all kind of...
It did certainly catapult him into
the Wolfman
and things like that, yeah. The Mummy's Tomb.
I always forget that he's in the Mummy movies because he's just covered up.
He doesn't I question some of the last two, if it's even him sometimes.
Sure.
I don't know why you'd bother. Especially because by then he was really difficult to work with. He hated that role, and he hated making those movies, and
he hated. It seems like he hated being made up.
He didn't like.
Which another thing is this movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
we'll get there.
You will get there. Is it on your card for this week?
It might be.
Okay.
Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, Son of Dracula, which is a film that I really, really like.
Yeah.
And I think he's really good in it. He gets a lot of guff about it for being, he's a pretty well-fed vampire. But I think he's got a physicality and a commanding presence and the threat of violence that none of the other Draculas, except Christopher Lee, have.
Interesting.
There's a force to him.
John Carradine isn't a threat of violence.
No, a good wind would blow him over.
Yeah.
Calling Dr. Death was the beginning of these Inner Sanctum.
Okay, the Inner Sanctum.
He did 6 of them, and they're okay. I mean, they're fun to watch.
Yeah.
Calling Dr. Death, Weird Woman, Cobra Woman, Ghost Catchers with Olsen and Johnson, The Mummy's Ghost, Dead Man's Eyes, House of Frankenstein, The Mummy's Curse, Here Come the Coeds with Abbott and Costello.
Okay, really?
Yep.
Oh.
Frozen Ghost, Strange Confession, House of Dracula, Pillow of Death, which is just a stupid title, but it's the last of the Inner Sanctum films.
Yep.
My Favorite Brunette with Bob Hope, and he's great. He's hilarious.
Really? I've never seen it.
Really funny.
Chaney is, Hope is, or both are?
Both are.
What's it called?
My Favorite Brunette.
My Favorite Brunette. Okay.
Mm-hmm. He did a bunch of My Favorite Blonde, then My Favorite Brunette. And
okay.
I think there's My Favorite Spy.
My Favorite Ginger.
Didn't get to that apparently. So we should do My Favorite Frankenstein.
Does anybody have a favorite gray-haired 50-year-old man at all? Nobody ever make a movie about that? Nobody cares.
Well, they made a gray-haired 80-year-old man with the new Indiana Jones film, so
it's true.
But Abbott Lou Costello made Frankenstein.
Yep.
I think it was the last thing he did at Universal for a while.
Okay.
Bride of the Gorilla. Tales of Tomorrow is the infamous Frankenstein incident. It was live TV where he thought it was a rehearsal and behaved accordingly and was terrified to find out that it wasn't. I'd always read years before it became available readily that he was drunk, and it does not appear that way at all watching it. And he's really not that bad. There's just a couple little moments where he's supposed to break a chair and he sets it down and says, well, okay, I'll break it later for real or whatever. They're pretty minor.
Yeah.
So it's been conflated into this absolute disaster, which it's not.
It is surprising when you finally watch it after what you've read, yeah.
High Noon. He's fantastic in that.
I gotta see more of these movies.
The Black Castle with Boris Karloff. It's one of the last gasps in the 50s of Universal Horror before it becomes full-time sci-fi. Indestructible Man, been on Mystery Science
Theater.
Yeah. Black Sleep.
Just a
It's
classic.
yep,
Love it so
I do
much.
too. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any dialogue in that, does he?
Is it? I was going to say, isn't it Lugosi that doesn't?
Lugosi doesn't have any in that.
Yeah, he doesn't have much.
No.
He's a dummy.
Yeah.
But
The Cyclops for Mr. Big, Burt I. Gordon. I think it's one of the few that Mystery Science Theater didn't show.
yeah, right.
The Alligator People, The Haunted Palace, Route 66 episode with Karloff and Peter Lorre. He does not only the Wolfman, but he does the Mummy and Quasimodo.
Dang. So Quasimodo, famously interpreted on film by his dad.
His dad.
He didn't do much of that. When we think about cashing in on your father's name, he
Yeah.
didn't play the roles that his father played.
When they remade Phantom of the Opera in '43, he really, really wanted to be the Phantom.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
So when they remade a movie that famously a character's face is revealed and he's skeletal and scary,
Yeah.
just by looking at him, and a big fat drunk dude wanted to, I'm just kidding, I don't know. Kind of easy to call him that.
It
because
is.
That's 43. That's the year after this.
Yeah, he still was fairly...
Actually, he was fairly thin in
fairly
43. I
thin,
feel like he
yeah.
might have lost weight.
Witchcraft, the Monkeys episode, Monkeys in a Ghost Town.
He's good in that. It's fun.
It's funny to see him because you're not expecting...
No.
And it's like not any big deal. He's just another character actor.
And then suddenly Lon Chaney Jr. is in it.
Yep.
Yeah. I call him Lon Chaney. What do you call him? You have to call him
You
Lon
have to
Chaney
kind of
Jr.,
do it, yeah. To differentiate. I
Yeah.
think as we go forward, it'll just be Lon Chaney or Lon or Chaney or whatever, but just to make it simple.
Creighton
Barrel.
Barrel.
Was his middle name.
That was...
Hillbillies in a Haunted House.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a treat.
I haven't seen it.
I have it right here if you want.
I'm good.
Okay. They do a riff tracks of it. That's pretty funny.
Oh, okay.
The infamous Spider Baby. If you haven't seen it, you should.
The infamous Spider Baby.
Yep.
It's on the list.
The one film in this era where he had the junior was The Female Bunch. Dracula versus Frankenstein was his last role.
See, I haven't even seen that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have the Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen it.
I have 2 DVDs and a Blu-ray here somewhere. Yeah, it's not good, but it's good to watch because of that.
Yeah.
You know, you get J. Carroll Nash and his clacking dentures.
Oh, okay.
It's a little distracting, and
Awesome.
Cheney looks like shit. By the end, all he was getting were these mute, dummy assistants and things where they're degrading.
So that Monkeys episode is 67?
66, I think.
So by then he's already that, isn't
He's
he?
already getting to that point. Yeah.
So this is like a big role for him to be on a monkey.
Yeah. Stood 6'9" in the Frankenstein makeup and apparently weighed 284 pounds, but who's counting?
You know, I saw these numbers. Meg says it must be true.
I guess.
It is in there. It's like,
yeah,
it's probably in this
it's
one.
It's in both of them.
Yeah.
I looked. And I think it's in Universal Horrors, too.
Okay,
know
6
it's-
foot. Well, here's the thing. We're going to talk about this like next week a little bit. But
Okay.
he does come across as gigantic, and
Yeah.
there are different reasons for that.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I guess he could be 6'9". So
Why-
he was
yeah, he was
6'3".
6'3",
So he's
so
wearing
six-
Kiss boots.
Yeah, he's got the boots, and then the forehead adds.
Oh, that's true. Good point.
Speaking of the rubber forehead piece, that was sculpted and cast by Ellis Berman and applied by Jack Pierce.
R.I.P. forehead piece.
Yeah, the stories differ whether he had an allergic reaction or was just irritated by it, but he kept complaining that his forehead hurt, and nobody was listening because Tom Weaver or one of the Bruni in Universal Horrors referenced his favorite hobby was belly aching. And so nobody really listened, and just out of frustration, he tore it off and tore his forehead open.
Yeah.
And had to miss a couple days of shooting because of that.
Meg says a week.
A week? Okay.
Or maybe it's not Meg. I think it is, though. Might have been Rigby. But either way, that's a long time. I mean, you're making a movie like this. You're trying to crank them out.
Oh,
You
yeah.
take a week off. What are you going to shoot?
They barely had a month to put this together.
He's in a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
They didn't shoot. What are they going to shoot? I guess they could shoot a lot of
They could shoot around
Atwill
him,
and Hardwick stuff.
Yeah.
Or Anchor's stuff, I guess.
The monster is in this, I think,
Bellamy.
more
The actor
than he
looks
is
like Bellamy.
in Frankenstein or Son of Frankenstein, for sure.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think he's got more screen time.
Well, we're only on week 6.
Right? Yeah, he's already...
We're doing the big reveal.
Yeah. There's a stupid puff piece about George Wagner was instructed to order the same makeup as Karloff for Chaney. Like anything else would have ever been even considered.
I don't know.
It's the same character. Why would you differ the makeup?
Go out of your way to make them look different.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just such a lose-lose on this one because
It is.
his face is the worst
It's
face.
so wrong for it.
I'm trying to picture what
It'd be
you would
like-
do
It'd
instead.
be like Lou Costello
Well,
playing it.
Right. Well, but like there's
see that round,
you just said
fleshy
the name
face?
of the show, Terror of
Tales-
Tomorrow.
Tales of
Tales
Tomorrow.
of Tomorrow. That's a completely different makeup, and I think it's more effective. So something.
It works on his face better, yeah.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm saying.
Yeah, but this by now is an iconic look. It's part of a series.
Yeah.
It's a programmer now, like Barsky says. It's
Yep.
not top of the line.
Well, it's also why, if you're Universal making a Frankenstein film in the 40s, why would you not do that? And then I just realized you said that, and I've been arguing against it. But I guess you're right. I guess what I'm saying is you're right.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to
You wouldn't want to
change it. Yeah. The first day of shooting was what we see in this minute, where he's buried under the sulfur.
God, fucking nightmare. So wait, this is. Sorry, I have to stop you there. This is hilarious to me. So this guy sits in makeup for hours to get this plastic shit put on him, and then they bury him in other plastic shit.
Sits for hours. Supposedly.
Is there a chair in there at least?
Yeah, well, it looks like he's sitting down.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So hopefully, he told me he wasn't. I believe that too.
Hopefully he was. Because, they covered him with plaster to be the hardened sulfur. And supposedly then everybody went to lunch and left him.
You always hear that. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear that all the time about different things. And I don't know what to believe. Again, it's probably from a Universal press release that's completely bogus. I don't know.
It was written in backwards speak.
Yeah, it does look really, really uncomfortable.
It really
and
does.
Horrifically unpleasant.
So is this the minute? I don't want to get into the next minute, because I think it's this one. When Lugosi's pulling the
chunks of sulfur.
The chunks off him. It's really, really effective, and I love it. I'm not critical of it at all in any way. I just really think it's actually really great. And when you say it's not dramatic enough, it plays well enough for me. It's just the reveal, not cutting to a...
The real reveal of the face, I think, could have been just a little more... But you're right. You're right. They probably are trying to downplay that. That's not Boris Karloff.
But it's also... It's so amazing. It's one shot. Most of it is just him. Lugosi is asked to pull these pieces of, you called it plaster.
I think it's plaster, I'm sure.
Off of him. And no matter what it is, no matter how light or awesome it's got to just be a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
And then there's a point where there's a part that's on Chaney's right shoulder where that Lugosi goes to pull it off, and it almost seems like he pauses because it looks like he's afraid that he's going to rip the whole headpiece off.
Yeah, like it's stuck.
Like it's stuck of it.
Yeah.
And then he kind of does a different motion and it breaks in two.
It breaks it in half, yeah.
Yeah.
It
looks like the whole fucking thing's
like, did it get
down.
stuck on the electrode? Did it get stuck in his ear?
Yeah.
It just looks...
Just the fact that happened gives some indication to me how fucking
horrible.
awful this had to be.
Yeah.
So when you hear that the guy freaked out and ripped it off, you ripped the headpiece off and
it wasn't during
a gash in his... No. But then when you hear that story, because the story is a very easy one to tell very quickly.
Yes.
Well, Kenton was told, make sure you get your shots in the morning because he likes to start drinking around
I think that came a little bit later, but...
It's in this...
Oh, is it in that? Okay.
It was in for this one, yeah.
Okay.
Kenton was told that it was part of the story that I heard about this.
Okay.
That he did these things that sound like a great detriment to the production that they're trying to do. And why would you hire this guy again?
Yeah.
Why would you fire him and fire somebody else? This is like really... If this is day one and we're going to not only put you in makeup and cover you in rubber...
Throw shit at you.
It's actually three things, right? Because it's... I mean, I don't know if all of this is true, but did they fully make him up? I suppose they had to.
Yeah.
The head, at least.
Yeah.
Then they cover him in that white
Yeah,
dust.
there's photos of Pierce applying that to him.
Is it paint or what is it?
It's got like it's like one of those things they use to like smoke for bees. You know?
like a
bellows kind of a thing, and he's shooting like chalk dust or
in
something.
his fucking face.
Yeah. Yeah, it just seems...
And then he's like, okay, now we can start to get you ready for the scene. Now we bury you in this wall of fucking
terrifying.
Dust.
Yeah, no wonder he
actually terrifying. True, good point. I mean,
no
like,
wonder
if you're
he was
claustrophobic.
Yeah, that would be the worst thing in the world.
Absolutely.
And no wonder he scowls throughout the whole movie because he's having a hell of a time.
Having a hell of a time. So yeah.
That's all I got. What do you...
Well, I do want to say, I think it's really, again, just to keep heaping praise on the minutes that I have to praise for.
Yeah.
That part where Igor digs the monster out is just, it's really impressive to me. It's very effective. I get your point about the not cutting to a close-up, but to me it's like very, it's amazing to watch it actually happen.
And
this is what it would look like. It doesn't look wrong at any point. You don't go, shit, that's plastic or whatever.
I only mentioned the close-up because I noticed noticed it watching it over and over again.
Yeah, that's true.
A cursory viewing of the film, or just a normal person watching this.
I'll be playing the part of the normal person.
Playing the part of
this week, playing the part of the normal person.
So, I hadn't noticed it prior to prepping for this.
Yeah, I suppose. I have two more things. Number one is when Lugosi is saying, my friend. So I had the minutes on a loop, and I left the room, and I came back into the room, and it was that part where he's saying, my friend. And it's really touching, because it's easy to miss it, I think, that how touching that is, because what I think is actually happening, and these kind of things can get lost when you're doing a minute by minute, is he's trying to escape. He's running for his life.
Yeah.
And he's not expecting to see the monster here.
Right.
He is, and that's the thing that can get lost, because it happens kind of fast, is he's waiting for the monster to come back. He's playing his horn, they blow up the castle, and the monster comes out, and they go.
Yeah.
But in this scene, he's running for his life.
Yeah.
You gotta get the fuck out of here. And all of a sudden, boom, this thing blows up, and he's like, oh my God, this is fucking awesome. And the way he handles it is perfect. He's like, my friend.
No,
and if you're not paying attention, that can come across as melodramatic, but it's actually appropriate.
It's actually really good.
It's like, holy shit, this is perfect. Yeah. This is so awesome. I'm so glad to see it.
The look on his face when he realizes, it's the hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, yes. He's very, excited, and in the script, it's, I'm not going to torture you by reading from the script, but there's a lot more like, I've been so lonely.
Yeah,
there's
a whole long thing, and I think cutting it was wise, because
I don't need it at all.
This has to move quickly.
Yes.
The building is coming down around them.
Yeah.
You better get the fuck out.
Well, and that's what's left is hurry. We must hurry. That's next week, I think.
Yeah.
But so that was really striking to me, that my friend
he's
clearly
surprised
and stunned and surprised to have this thing that is exactly what he wants. Anyways, it was very emotionally affecting for me. The little bit of trivia: director Earl C. Kenton told Chaney to stay as still as he could during this scene, and then Chaney thought he meant for the whole movie.
For the whole movie, yeah.
That's my little joke. That's not a real bit of trivia, folks.
Any more questions, wise ass?
All right, let's. That sound of the thing means that it's time for Got Any More Questions, Wise Ass? Brought to you by Patreon.com/Frankenstein Minute. Visit Patreon.com/Frankenstein Minute. That's Patreon.com/Frankenstein Minute right now.
Do it. Stop listening and go.
Yep, it's Friday, right? Yep. So did you sign up yet? It's Friday. Well, then I guess.
You missed the Frankenstein Thursday.
Frankenstein Thursday, that's way in the past.
All right, what do we got?
For Frankenstein, episode 401, Frankenstein 4, The Voyage Home. Chuck from Winnipeg replies,
good old Chuck.
Great way to start Ghost of Frankenstein series, which I think is something we should absolutely acknowledge. It seems that people were happy to have Frank Santopadre appear on our podcast, and I feel like the response was, we haven't had a ton of response yet, but I think it's a great thing because it's so sad what happened with Gilbert passing away. It was a very popular podcast, obviously, and he sort of cut down in his prime, if you will. I like the idea that we have Frank on, and that people that were fans of Gilbert's podcast are fans of Frank too.
I would hope
big part of that. Yeah. And so it's a nice little, bridge between our two podcasts.
And I think he made a great guest.
He's also a great guest.
Really fun to talk to.
Oh yeah. No, Frank's so great.
Unfortunately, I had to cut it by about half to get it down to an hour, and I only kept the stuff that was germane to Frankenstein.
So there's no bonus episode today?
I might, once I recover from the last 4 weeks of
it's a
mammoth.
lot of stuff.
You have no idea how long it takes to edit those down. Three and a half hour long audio file.
Well, I did a couple, and they were weeks.
It's taken me a long time.
But yes, it was so great to have Frank.
So there probably will be both Frank and Barsky bonus episodes of what was cut out.
Also, Mike Herman responded to that episode in all caps, one word, with an exclamation point. Boomer!
There we go.
There you go. An excellent start to the series.
Yes.
You know what? I am going to do a second one.
All right.
Because this is so far behind now. This is weeks behind. Eric Fidel says, and this is in response to one of the Dino episodes.
Okay.
So who did the edit you talked about, and where can I see it? Sounds fantastic. 2 exclamation points and then 2 lightning bolts. I assume what you're talking about is Dino's edit.
I saw that. I saw that, and I was going to reply, then I thought I'd better wait till we do it here.
Yeah, maybe you even said that. His name is Dino Stamatopoulos, and he is a famous person who created Moral Oral and
Mary Shelley's Frankenhole.
Mary Shelley's Frankenhole, and worked on
Mr. Show.
Conan O'Brien, David Letterman, and all
Community,
this stuff.
You'll know him as Starburns.
Everyone's and it's great. And
the
it's
Magna
on Vimeo.
Carta, I think he worked on.
He worked on the Magna Carta. I believe he worked on the Dead Sea Scrolls, but not the parts that he did. I'm not even sure where even stayed in. I think they were all cut.
They cut out.
Yeah, he did it, and it is on Vimeo, and I will put the link somewhere so Eric can find it.
If you're referring to my 75-minute edit, it hasn't happened.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's true. Thom is working diligently on not doing a 75-minute edit of Son of Frankenstein.
Exactly
but
right.
what Dino did is he took the Universal Frankenstein Wolfman saga and cut it together. Then he did a Dracula one too that I haven't seen.
I haven't seen the Dracula one, but I like what he did. I like the choices he made.
I'd like him to do a Mummy one, but he doesn't like the Mummy. I don't know.
No, he doesn't, because he liked the commentaries that we had done. And
well, that's right. We told him our next one was going to be Mummy's Hand. He was like, oh.
Yeah. And so I don't know.
Well, it's weird when we do a commentary. You know what? Tell us if you want us to do a commentary. We'll think about it. We've already had one request for bonus episodes that we haven't done from Jason. He thinks we should do, and I totally think it's a great idea. We just haven't done it. Do you know what I'm going to say? Because he's said it years ago. Frankenstein 1910.
Oh.
And that wouldn't be easy to do minute by minute because the fucking thing's 10 minutes long. So it'd be 10. We get 10 or 15 minute bonus episodes. Yeah. And obviously at that length, a lot goes on in a short period of time. But yes, I'm pledging to post the link, but we'll see what happens.
All right.
Good night.
Good night, folks.